The pen felt like it weighed 50 pounds in my hand. I'm Theodore Pierce, 59 years old, and I've signed enough contracts to build half of downtown Pittsburgh. But sitting in Romano's Italian restaurant that Tuesday night, staring at a $2 million construction deal, something felt wrong. My hands were shaking again. Third time this month. Ted, you look like hell, said Nathan Brooks, my business partner for 20 years. He was cutting into his steak like he was dissecting a blueprint. Maybe we should call it a night. I was about to ask for a glass of water when I froze. The waitress walking toward our table was 8 months pregnant, moving slow and careful like she was carrying precious cargo. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and she had this tired look that went deeper than just being pregnant. When she looked up at our table, my heart stopped beating. It was Victoria, my daughter-in-law, the woman my son Gabriel said had run off with another man 6 months ago. She saw me and went white as paper. Her hands started shaking so bad the water glasses on her tray were clinking together, like wind chimes in a storm. She tried to turn around and walk away, but I was already standing up, Victoria. She stopped like she'd been shot. When she turned back, there were tears streaming down her face. Please, she whispered, looking around like someone might be watching from the shadows. Don't tell him I'm alive. That's when my blood started boiling. See, Gabriel had told me Victoria was a gold digger who took off when she found out the baby wasn't going to make her rich quick. He said she cleaned out their joint account and disappeared to Florida with some guy she met online. Said she was probably spending my family's money on beach vacations while honest people worked for a living. I believed him, my own son. The boy I'd taught to swing a hammer when he was 6 years old. But here she was, 8 months pregnant, working tables for tips in a restaurant that smelled like garlic and desperation. Nathan, give me a minute, I said. He took one look at my face and didn't argue. Smart man. He's seen me handle problem contractors before. I followed Victoria to the back hallway near the kitchen. The smell of industrial cleaning supplies mixed with oregano hung in the air like a confession waiting to be heard. She was crying hard now, one hand on her belly, the other against the wall for support. What's going on? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Gabriel said you left him, said you took his money and ran off with some Romeo you met on the internet. She let out this bitter laugh that sounded more like breaking glass. Mr. Pierce, I've been hiding for 6 months. Gabriel didn't just chase me away, he threw me out, said the baby wasn't his and he didn't want to see my face again. I felt like someone had hit me with a 2004. That's not what he told me. He said you were a thief who abandoned your family. He's been bringing that woman around since before I left. Isabella, they've been planning this for months. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And Mr. Pierce, he's been putting something in your coffee. Every morning when he brings you that special blend. Isabella bragged about it once when she thought I couldn't hear. Said it would make you retire early. The room started spinning like I was on a construction crane in high wind, those dizzy spells I'd been having. The shaky hands that made signing contracts feel like diffusing a bomb. The way I'd been feeling tired all the time, like my foundation was cracking. Gabriel brought me coffee every single morning for the past 6 months. Said it was a special blend his girlfriend Isabella recommended. Said it would help with my energy levels. You're telling me my son is poisoning me? Victoria nodded, still crying. I tried to warn you before I left, but he caught me in your study. That's when he threw me out. Told me if I ever came back, he'd make sure I lost the baby. Said no one would believe a gold-digging liar over the heir to Pierce Construction. I've built buildings that could survive earthquakes, but standing in that hallway, I felt like my whole world was collapsing from the inside out. The boy I'd raised, the one I'd planned to hand my life's work over to, was slowly killing me while I smiled and thanked him for it. Where have you been living? My car, mostly. Some nights at the shelter on 5th Street when it gets too cold. I got this job 3 weeks ago. But I didn't know you came here for business dinners. I was trying to save enough money to get out of town before. She touched her belly with both hands, protective and desperate, before he's born. My grandson, Gabriel's son that he didn't want. The next generation of Pierce blood that my own son was willing to throw away like construction debris. Right then, my phone buzzed against my chest pocket. Text message from Gabriel. Hope you're feeling better tonight, Dad. See you in the morning for coffee. Rest well. I showed Victoria the message. She went even paler, if that was possible. He's checking on you. Making sure the dose is working right. Making sure you're getting weaker on schedule. I'd heard enough. Come on, we're leaving. I can't. I need this job. It's the only thing keeping me and the baby fed. You don't need anything except to be safe, and I need to find out exactly what my son has been feeding me. I called my driver Tim and told him to bring the car around back. Then I called my doctor while Victoria gathered her things from the employee locker. Dr. Foster? It's Ted Pierce. I need a blood test tonight. Emergency. Ted, it's 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Caroline, someone's been poisoning me. I need to know what and how much. There was a pause that lasted about 3 heartbeats. Meet me at the office in 20 minutes. I'll call the lab. The ride to Dr. Foster's clinic was the longest 20 minutes of my life. Victoria sat in the back seat of my Lincoln, both hands protecting her belly like she expected someone to jump out of the shadows. Tim kept checking the rearview mirror, probably wondering why his boss was driving around with a pregnant waitress at 9:30 at night. Tell me about Gabriel when he was younger, Victoria said quietly. Before all this, I need to understand how someone becomes this cold. That question hit me like a steel beam to the chest. I'd been thinking about it for the past 6 months without realizing it. When did my son turn into a stranger? Gabriel was 14 when his mother died, I said, watching the Pittsburgh skyline blur past the window. Cancer took her fast, 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. I threw myself into work afterward because I didn't know how else to handle losing her. Built 3 office complexes and 2 shopping centers in the next year alone. So he was alone. I thought I was providing for him. Thought building the business bigger would give him more opportunities. I hired a housekeeper, made sure he had everything he needed materially. But I wasn't there for the grief, wasn't there when he needed his father most. Victoria was quiet for a moment. He told me his mother abandoned the family, said she chose drugs over him. I nearly put my fist through the window. She died holding his hand in a hospital bed. Never touched drugs in her life except the morphine they gave her for the pain at the end. He's been rewriting history for a long time then. Apparently so. 2 hours later, I was sitting in Dr. Foster's office staring at test results that should have killed me. Arsenic. Small doses over 6 months, just enough to make me sick, but not enough to kill me right away. Ted, this is systematic poisoning, doctor, Foster said, her face grim as winter concrete. Whoever's doing this knows exactly what they're doing. A few more months and you'd be dead. The dosage has been increasing gradually. Classic slow poisoning protocol. Victoria was in the examination room next door getting checked out. 8 months pregnant. Malnourished, exhausted. But the baby was strong. Dr. Foster said the little guy was a fighter. What do you want to do? Dr. Foster asked. This is attempted murder, Ted. We need to call the police. Not yet. I want to catch this rat with cheese in his mouth. I spent that night in my study, staring at financial records and trying to figure out how deep Gabriel's betrayal went. Victoria had mentioned something about Isabella bragging, which meant there might be more than just poisoning going on. I called my accountant at home, woke him up. Jerry, it's Ted. I need you to run a complete audit on all company accounts. Tonight. Ted, it's midnight. Someone's been stealing from me, Jerry. Could be family. I need to know how bad it is. Damn, Ted. Okay, give me 3 hours. The next morning I did something I hadn't done in 30 years. I called in sick to my own company. Told Gabriel I was feeling terrible. Probably needed to rest all day. Mentioned I might need to see a specialist. He showed up an hour later with coffee and this fake concerned look on his face that I now recognized as pure theater. Dad, you look awful. Maybe you should see a doctor. I watched him set down the cup. The same blue cup he'd been bringing me for months. The one with the tiny chip on the handle that I'd grown familiar with. Thanks, son. You're a real lifesaver. That's what family's for, right? Looking out for each other. While he was in the bathroom, I did something that went against every instinct I had as a father. I switched our cups. When he came back, he picked up his coffee without thinking and took a big drink. This tastes different, he said, frowning. Isabella's new blend, I said. Really hits you, doesn't it? 20 minutes later, he was sweating and his hands were shaking. That's when I told him I knew everything. You've been poisoning me for 6 months. You threw out your pregnant wife, and I'm betting you've been stealing from the company accounts too. Gabriel tried to deny it, but his hands were shaking too bad to be convincing. That tiny dose of his own medicine was hitting him hard. His pupils were dilated, and he kept wiping sweat from his forehead. Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. You're sick. You need help. Where's the money, Gabriel? What money? I pulled out my phone and showed him the audit results. Jerry had sent me at 4 a.m. $427,000 missing from various accounts over the past year. Wire transfers to offshore accounts in Isabella's maiden name. Forged signatures on withdrawal authorizations. Your wife was smarter than both of us, I said, watching his face go from white to green as the arsenic worked through his system. She documented everything before you threw her out, took pictures of bank statements, recorded conversations, kept copies of all the transfers. She knew what you were doing and kept records as insurance. Gabriel's face twisted into something I didn't recognize, not my son anymore, just a stranger wearing his face. She was bleeding us dry, Dad, always wanting more money for baby stuff for the house, for her family. She was going to bankrupt us. She was pregnant with your son. How do we even know it's mine? That's when I realized I'd completely failed as a father. Not just in the past 6 months, but for years. I'd raised a monster and dressed him up as my heir. The only thing you're going to explain is to the police. I'd already called Detective Amanda Ford. She was waiting outside with a warrant and 2 uniforms. They arrested Gabriel at the kitchen table, still sick from his own poison. When Detective Ford walked in with the handcuffs, Gabriel tried to play the victim card one more time. Dad, please, I was trying to protect the company. She was going to destroy everything we built. I looked at this man who shared my DNA, but none of my values. The only thing you protected was your own greed. Isabella tried to run when she got word about Gabriel's arrest. They caught her at Pittsburgh International Airport with $400,000 in cash, stuffed into 3 different carry-on bags, and a one-way ticket to Costa Rica. Apparently, she'd been planning her exit strategy for months. When they brought her back to the station, she immediately tried to pin everything on Gabriel, said he forced her to help, said she was scared of him, said she never wanted to hurt anyone. Classic criminal behavior. Loyalty lasts exactly as long as the handcuffs stay off. But Victoria had recorded more than I initially knew. While she was living in that house, pretending to be the loving daughter-in-law, she'd been documenting everything with her phone. Conversations between Gabriel and Isabella planning my retirement, discussions about which offshore banks to use, even video of Isabella putting white powder into my special coffee blend. The evidence was so overwhelming that Gabriel's lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal within 48 hours. I refused. Let it go to trial. I told the district attorney, I want everything on the public record, every lie, every betrayal, every crime. The whole ugly truth. The trial lasted 3 months and made headlines in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette almost daily. Construction hire attempts murder for inheritance. Family business becomes family betrayal. Pregnant wife exposes husband's plot. Sitting in that courtroom every day was like watching a surgeon cut out a cancer I didn't know I had. Gabriel's defense team tried everything, claimed I was an abusive father who drove him to desperation, suggested Victoria had seduced him into the scheme, even attempted to argue that the arsenic levels weren't lethal. The prosecutor destroyed every argument with Victoria's evidence and the medical testimony. Dr. Foster explained to the jury exactly how the poisoning protocol worked, how it was designed to mimic natural aging and illness, how a few more months would have killed me. When Victoria took the stand, 9 months pregnant by then, the courtroom was dead silent. She told her story in a clear, steady voice. No drama, no embellishment, just facts. How Gabriel brought Isabella into their home. How he started treating Victoria like a servant. How she discovered the financial theft by accident when she was helping with tax documents. I tried to talk to my father-in-law, she testified, but Gabriel caught me in Mr. Pierce's study. That's when he told me I had a choice, disappear quietly or have an accident like his mother did. Gabriel's face went white when she said that. Even his own lawyer looked shocked. During cross-examination, Gabriel's attorney tried to paint Victoria as a gold digger who was lying for money. Big mistake. How much money did you steal from the Pierce family accounts? The lawyer asked. $0. How much did you demand in the divorce? I never filed for divorce. I was trying to save my husband's father from being murdered. What did you gain from testifying here today? Victoria looked directly at Gabriel. I gained the knowledge that my son will grow up knowing the difference between right and wrong. Gabriel got 15 years for attempted murder, embezzlement, and fraud. Isabella got 12 years as an accessory and co-conspirator. The judge said it was one of the most cold-blooded family betrayals he'd ever seen in 30 years on the bench. But the real justice happened 2 weeks after sentencing. Victoria gave birth to Benjamin at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. 7 pounds, 2 ounces with my father's stubborn chin and my wife's gentle eyes. I was in the delivery room when he took his first breath. and I made him a promise right then and there that no one would ever hurt him the way his biological father had hurt his mother. I legally adopted Victoria as my daughter that same week. Not just for legal protection, but because she'd earned it. She'd risked everything to save my life and preserve what was good about the Pierce name. When the adoption papers were finalized, she cried harder than she had during labor. "I haven't had a real father since I was 12, she said. "Well, you've got one now, and he's not going anywhere." I made her CFO of Pierce Construction the following month. Turns out she's got a head for numbers and a nose for spotting trouble that would make any auditor jealous. The company's running better now than it has in years. We instituted new ethics policies, transparency measures, and employee protection protocols. Word got around the construction community that Pierce Construction was clean, honest, and reliable. Our bid acceptance rate went up 40% in the first year after Gabriel's conviction. Victoria moved back into the main house with Benjamin. I had the entire place professionally cleaned and all the locks changed. Throughout every piece of furniture Gabriel and Isabella had touched, including that blue coffee cup. Every morning now, Victoria and I have coffee together in the kitchen while Benjamin plays with his blocks on the floor. We go over the day's business, plan new projects, and watch my grandson learn how to build things instead of tear them down. Benjamin's first word wasn't mama or dada. It was pop-pop, which is what Victoria taught him to call me. That's worth more than any contract I ever signed. The arsenic is completely out of my system now. My hands don't shake anymore. I sleep through the night. And every morning when I make my own coffee, I'm grateful to be alive to see another day with my real family. Victoria kept every piece of evidence against Gabriel in a shoebox under her car seat for 6 months. Bank records, photos, recordings, transfer receipts. She was living in her car, pregnant and scared, but she never stopped fighting for what was right. That's the kind of character I should have built into Gabriel but didn't. Benjamin doesn't know his biological father is in prison. As far as he's concerned, Pop-Pop is his dad. Victoria is his mom, and this big house with the workshop out back is his kingdom. When he's old enough, I'll tell him the truth about Gabriel. But I'll also tell him that sometimes families break, and when they do, real love means protecting the innocent and rebuilding something better. The business is stronger now with Victoria running the financial side. She instituted new ethics policies and transparency measures that have actually brought in more clients. Turns out, when you run an honest company, people notice. Our reputation in Pittsburgh construction has never been better. I'm 62 now, thinking about semi-retirement in a few years. Not because I have to, but because I want to spend more time with Benjamin. Teach him to use tools, show him how to read blueprints, take him fishing at the lake where I used to take Gabriel when he was small. All the things I didn't do enough of with Gabriel because I was too busy chasing the next deal, building the next project, making the next dollar. Money comes and goes. Buildings eventually get torn down, but family, real family built on love and loyalty instead of just blood and obligation, that's what lasts forever. Last week, Benjamin said something that stopped me in my tracks. We were playing with his blocks in the living room, building towers and knocking them down. He looked up at me with those serious brown eyes and said, "Pop, why do some people break things instead of building them?" I sat there for a minute, watching this 2-year-old who already understood more about construction than destruction. Some people forget that building takes patience, buddy. They want things too fast, so they try to take shortcuts. But shortcuts in building always lead to things falling down. That's why we measure twice and cut once. That's exactly why. Victoria was listening from the doorway, smiling. She's 27 now, looks healthier than I've ever seen her. The stress lines are gone from around her eyes. Benjamin adores her, follows her around the house like a shadow, helps her with everything from cooking to filing invoices. Sometimes I catch her looking at family photos on the mantle, pictures of me and my late wife, old construction projects, holiday gatherings from before everything went wrong. She always stops at one particular photo, Gabriel at age 10, grinning with a missing front tooth, holding a hammer almost as big as he was. "He wasn't always a monster," she said once. "That's what makes it so sad." She's right. Gabriel made choices that led him down a dark path, but he wasn't born evil. I bear responsibility for that, not for his crimes, but for the opportunities I missed to teach him character instead of just success. The letters from prison started about 6 months after his sentencing. Gabriel writing to me, asking for money for the commissary, requesting visits, claiming he'd found religion and wanted to make amends. I read the first few, then started throwing them away unopened. Victoria asked me once if I missed him. I missed the boy I thought I raised, I told her. But that boy was apparently gone long before I realized it. Some people might say I was too harsh, sending my own son to prison. But when someone tries to murder you and abandon your pregnant daughter-in-law, blood doesn't buy them mercy. Justice isn't always pretty, but it's necessary. And sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born with. Benjamin's second birthday party was last month. We had it in the backyard, invited Victoria's parents who drove down from West Virginia, some of the guys from the construction crew, Dr. Foster and her family. Simple barbecue, birthday cake, kids running around getting grass stains on their clothes. Watching Benjamin blow out his candles, surrounded by people who love him, I realized something important. This is what success actually looks like, not the size of your bank account or the height of your buildings. Success is sitting at a picnic table on a Sunday afternoon, watching your grandson laugh while your daughter flips hamburgers and complains about the smoke getting in her eyes. Gabriel thought he could poison his way to an inheritance. Instead, he poisoned his way to prison and gave me the greatest gift I never knew I needed. A real family built on something stronger than DNA. The workshop out back used to be Gabriel's play area when he was small. I've converted it into a teaching space for Benjamin. Child-sized workbench, rubber hammers, wooden blocks for building. He spends hours out there creating towers and bridges and houses for his toy cars. Pop, pop, look what I built. He calls out every few minutes, proudly showing off some new architectural marvel that defies both gravity and logic. That's a strong foundation, buddy. I always tell him, that'll last a long time. Justice has a way of coming around, even when you least expect it. Gabriel wanted money, power, and control. He got a prison cell, orange jumpsuit, and 13 more years to think about his choices. Victoria wanted safety, love, and a future for her child. She got a new family, financial security, and a son who will never doubt that he's wanted. I wanted an heir to carry on the Pierce name and legacy. I got something better, a daughter who earned her place, and a grandson who's learning that building things is better than tearing them down. Looking back at my family story, I realize I spent decades building an empire, but failed to build a relationship with my own son. Don't make my mistake. Don't measure your worth by the height of your towers while ignoring the cracks in your foundation. I was so focused on constructing a legacy that I didn't see the monster growing under my own roof. This wasn't about revenge. It was about survival and protecting innocent people from a predator who happened to share my name. But here's the real truth. Betrayal shouldn't have been possible if I'd been the father Gabriel needed, instead of just the provider he expected. Watch who you trust, but more importantly, be someone worth trusting. I ignored the warning signs, dismissed red flags, and nearly paid with my life. Your closest circle can become your greatest threat if you prioritize success over relationship. The greatest lesson from this story isn't about justice or family drama. It's simpler than that. Blood relations mean nothing without loyalty and love. Character matters more than bloodline. And sometimes the best thing you can do for a family legacy is to choose who deserves to carry it forward.